Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader, with a quick update on Bitcoin. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor, as markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. Alright, we got the 4-hour Bitcoin. I'm looking at Coinbase chart right now, and you'll remember we were talking about these two channels, the orange one and the yellow one. And I said we were going to get pinned in this little tightening range. And that's what we did. We came down and tested it from the very top to the very bottom. Came back to the top, back to the bottom. So, I mean, bottom, top, top. And then when we got this close outside of it and the retest, now what we're expecting is the continuation move to the top of the yellow channel. Because I think at this point in time, you know, we've made it very clear that we were in this descending channel right here in orange, and then we poked our head out of it and started forming the yellow one, and then we're actually respecting the yellow one more than we're respecting the orange one. Now it's not guaranteed yet, because we did get one breakout of the orange to the top of the yellow and one breakout of the yellow to the bottom of the orange. So coming out of the orange right now, what would you expect to happen? Continuation up to the top of the yellow, which is, depending when it happens, going to be about like 94.50 roughly. We could see a close up as high as like 9600 though, or I'm sorry, a wick as high as 9600, but a close outside of the channel and then continuation would validate this pattern as a breakout for me, and then I would have to reevaluate at that point in time. But for me, a close above the blue horizontal resistance, a close above the heart line of the yellow channel, a close above the resistance of the top of the orange channel, once again is going to give me continuation, confirmation back to that 94.50 range. And then, like I said, a wick as high as 9600 for right now is my target. So and then, as you can see also, you'll notice that once the TDMACD, I mean, you can look at this thing, is like, I mean, you could go back through and look at the hit percent on different assets, but when the price action, when the histogram is above the slope and the slope turns blue, you always catch a move. I mean, it is like, it's very unlikely that something like this happens. Very unlikely something like this happens. But once again, you catch it, you get the fake out to the downside, and then the big move. So that's one I always like to keep an eye out on. Now, what I'm looking at right here, though, is what we were talking about the other day. We get the knife all the way at the top and the buy signal at the same time. That's a divergence on the oscillator. I don't like to see that. I like to see the knife come up and then the oscillator like way afterwards. I don't like it to happen at the same time, because what happens with that is you're getting the buy signal while you're already exhausted. There's no ammunition left to move this price action to the upside. So, and when I say none, I mean, you know, we're already in a very high range. The same way as like if the RSI was already topped out, you know, you might get skeptical of continuation if the RSI was at like 99 or something like that. And when I say that, I'm talking about for like actual continuation, like above this area on like a 4-hour or so. But I do want to switch over now to a little longer time frame and take a look at this. And now what do we have? We have the cross between the yellow and the red, and this is going to be on the daily. We're now above the red, we got back above the green, and now we're retesting the yellow, the 21. So what I expect to happen here is essentially like a test back up as high as 94 to 96.50, and then essentially like rejection, leave a decent sized wick behind, and then continuation to the downside. Now we are very close on the daily to getting this cross back to the upside here, in which case we would get the hard buy signal, and I would expect continuation to the upside. Although, I mean, at this point in time, with how much consolidation we've done and everything, the way you get like these crosses one after another like that is just from it just kind of bouncing around, just crossing over, crossing back over. So when you're in a consolidation range like this, and just when you're basically consolidating, you know, in a range, you need to look at the overall direction of the trend. So we're basically consolidating in this channel like we were talking about, like in this wedge. I'm going to turn off the moving averages one more time. We're consolidating inside of this channel, or two channels, however you want to look at it. So what we're paying attention to is the overall slope of the channel is down. So we're in a downtrend consolidation right now. Alright, so what we're looking for is a change in trend. So if this trend breaks and we start moving to the upside now, consolidating, or like getting like continual like higher lows and higher highs, then we'll look for, you know, continuations to the upside, and we'll want to be like long in the market overall. But you can use whatever you want, whether it's the slope of the actual trend that's taking place, whether it's moving average crosses, whatever it is that you're using to determine the trend. And if you use multiple things and then they line up and tell you the same thing, you know, that's called confluence. That means you have like more than one thing telling you, you know, confirming what you were already suspecting. You know, okay, we're in a downtrend. Let's look at the moving averages. Yep, they cross over negative. Yep, we're, you know, let's look at support resistance. Okay, we're in a channel and it's sloped downwards. So yep, we're in a downtrend. So that's two things telling you right off the bat you're in a downtrend. So then you can use, you know, lower highs, lower lows. That's the third one now. So the likelihood of when you get consistent indicators, oscillators, price action, whatever it is, like patterns, whatever you use to make your trades off of, when you can get multiple things like that to line up, the more things that line up, the better a trade it is, like more consistent, more likely it is to win. You know, you might be up to like 65, 75%, at which point in time, you know, you're way better off than a coin flip. You're winning 3 out of 4 trades. So if you use like proper risk management, proper position sizing, and you're patient and look for those ideal setups, you know, you're going to be the most successful in these markets. So, and let's go back over to the weekly and see what's going on. Weekly, we now officially put in our third red histogram. The slope is down on the TJD TDMACD. And then we actually were able to, on the Jewel Thief, leave like the top zone. So we're actually below 80 now. So we lose like the red distribution zone up here. And we're now below it again. But I would expect what's going to happen is we're just going to consolidate, continue here, maybe get a pop back into it, put in like 1 or 2 reds. And then by then the violet will have caught up here. And then we'll get the cross and violent sell-off. So we'll essentially get, this will be red, then we'll have like 1 or 2 blacks right here, or potentially if we move back up we could even turn it back red, so it would stay red on the weekly, and then like 1 or 2 more, let this purple get back up here, and then we get the cross. And when we get the cross is when we're going to get like this the hard sell signal, like the violet, the purple, and then you know, and then we'll get the actual hard sell signal. We'll get the cross back down, and then typically we'll get the knife come down and put in like a sharp move like this, a big red stab down. So that's what we're expecting. And then the idea is that then we'll see, do we stop at the 89 at 78.50? Do we come down to the 200s? Do we take out the parabolic SAR, you know, at 6,000? And then right when we flip this negative, we get the continuation back to the upside. That's what I'm expecting. Because look right here. Right when we flip this positive, right when the SAR goes green, I mean, that was the top. That was the top on the weekly. Same thing right here. That just means we're ranging. Every time we come down and take it out, that's just the top. So what I'm expecting, what I think is the most likely thing to happen right here, is for price action to come down here, stab this, take out the SAR, and then, you know, and it might not even make it down to the 200, and that's just showing market strength. In which case, when we get the move back to upside, the SAR is going to flip back red, the moving averages will all be crossed over negative, everybody will be super bearish, and then all of a sudden, boom, we find support, and that was our bottom. That was our higher low for the 3rd time, and, you know, that was enough for the market. Basically, continuation right here, consolidation, accumulation, and then boom, we have enough strength to break through this to the upside. So that's my market analysis. What, you know, that's my opinion of what could happen. I mean, we'll know well ahead of time if that's not going to happen. That's what the weekly chart's so great about. But as far as like the actual moving averages, daily time frames, shorter time frames, you know, we're looking for that continuation to the upside. We got the move we were talking about. We're looking to come down here, test this support again, test the heart line, same thing. You know, obviously I wasn't here for 4th of July. Take a little time, relax, time to myself, time with my family. But I hope everybody else had a good one. If you're not in the United States, I hope you enjoyed the day regardless. But you know, if you're in the United States, happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments. I always appreciate the comments. Even if you don't have anything to say, just put a smiley face emoji, whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. To tell you the truth, I just appreciate the interaction. So there you have it, guys. Crypto Trend Trader, and I'm out of here.